Hi, Wolfpack fans. This is Marcy Bullock with part two of work life integration. So, we are now moving into the actual quiz. I'm going to narrate the answers and you are going to score. Don't overthink any of these questions. I want you to be saying the first thing that comes to your mind. So, the directions here are keep track of your score by tallying the number of P, W, S, and I. So, just kind of grab a pen and paper and put those four letters down and put little tally marks next to them. And then I'll explain to you what each letter means and how you can utilize this in an intentional way in your life. So, first scenario is entry level professional. In this section, imagine that you are a new professional, which you will be very soon when you graduate, navigating the beginning of your career. So, here's question one. You receive an appealing job offer that will advance your career but will likely require 50 to 60 hours a week devoted to completing the position's expectations. Do you A, accept the position, or B, decline the position? Next question. Your supervisor announces a new initiative that will allow more work from home opportunities. Do you A, volunteer for the new initiative, or B, decline participating to remain in the office? Three, an overseas client requests a meeting that will occur during a loved one's birthday. Do you A, ask to reschedule the meeting, or B, arrive to the party late? Four, over the weekend, you won an award at an annual festival for your favorite hobby. Do you A, display the work award and discuss it with your colleagues, or B, display the award at home and discuss it with your friends? Number five, you begin a new position and your colleague begins requesting to connect with you through your personal social media. Do you A, accept the request, or B, decline the request? Number six, the weekend that's coming up is your annual friends trip, but your supervisor asks you to work some extra hours on Saturday to meet a project deadline. Do you A, decline to take on the hours, or B, attend the trip but spend most of the time working? Number seven, a colleague on your team has consistently failed to meet expectations, which is negatively affecting the work for your team. Do you A, speak with your supervisor, or B, speak with your colleague? Number eight, a work project has taken more time than you anticipate. Do you A, take the project home to complete it, or B, finish the project during working hours? Number nine, you are offered a significant promotion and a higher salary and more hours at work that will require you to relocate several states away from family and friends. Do you A, accept the promotion, or B, decline the promotion? And the final question for entry level is you're assigned a work email address. Do you A, access the messages on your personal cell, or B, access the messages on your work computer? We're now transitioning to section two, a mid level professional. You've been out in the work world several years. In this section, imagine that you've advanced your career and you have additional personal and professional responsibilities. So we're kind of taking a crystal ball. 11, you need to run to the dry cleaners. Do you A, run the errand during the workday, or B, run the errand after work? 12, you are asked to supervise the 15 office interns. The weekly intern meetings happen at the same time as your weekly counseling therapy appointment. Do you A, reschedule with your counselor therapist, or B, reschedule with your intern? 13, you are offered a position at a new company that will push you to reach your career goals at the expense of personal hobbies. Do you A, decline the offer, or B, accept the offer? Number 14, while in recovery from a major medical procedure at home, do you A, watch Netflix, or B, work on a work project? Number 15, you serve as a volunteer youth mentor with a local nonprofit, and you have been asked to use your work connections at the local zoo to arrange a trip for the youth. Do you A, make the connection, or B, politely decline the connection? Number 16, while attending a professional conference, you receive a call about an emergency at home. Do you A, leave the conference, or B, stay at the conference? Number 17, one of the employees on the team you lead has been logging a concerning amount of overtime in the office for the past few months. Do you A, encourage the employee to take a vacation, or B, encourage the employee to take delegation work at home? Number 18, your job upgrades your desktop computer to a laptop. Do you A, take the laptop home, or B, leave the laptop at home? Number 19, during an approved vacation, you receive a surprise call from your supervisor. Do you A, let the call go to voicemail, or B, answer the call? And our final question for mid level is tonight, you have front row tickets to the latest Broadway musical. Okay, this must be after the pandemic. And your last meeting is running late. Do you excuse yourself early or wait for the meeting to end? And now we're in our final section, which is senior professional. In this section, imagine you are close to retirement. You have accomplished much in your life and you have numerous personal and professional obligations. On your 60th birthday, woo, you're moving forward with your time machine here. You've been given a chance to get a big promotion that will stretch you to new heights, but will likely consume your life. A, you take it. B, you pass it up. Your supervisor, number 22, has just posted a conference presentation keynote address on your calendar. You realize it's the same day as the soccer championship you've agreed to cheer on your loved one. Not everyone will have kids, but it could be your kids. A, apologize to your loved one and attend the keynote, or B, apologize to the conference organizers and attend the game. Number 23, what type of role model do you hope to play on your team at work? Do you want to be A, the boss that expects them to check their email on the weekends, or B, the boss who expects to unplug on the weekends? 24, your CEO nominated you for the leadership program that requires you to be gone for 1 weekend a month for 3 months and miss a family wedding. A, you skip the leadership program. B, you skip the wedding. Number 25, as you look back on your life, what would you like to say about your legacy? A, I was extremely professionally accomplished, or B, I was extremely fulfilled in my personal life. I know these are hard. I know you want to do both, but what comes to your mind first? Push yourself. 26, as the leader of your team, which quote is most likely to come out of your mouth to your subordinates? A, you're on vacation. You can let the work wait. Or B, I know you'll be on vacation, but I need you to call in as the deadline approaches. 27, you're interviewing candidates for a new role on your team. Which response will influence you to hire the person? A, I am efficient and productive and try to complete my work before I go home. Or B, I will be accessible 24/7 to be sure I complete my work. Two more questions. Number 28, when your direct report describes you, which quote do you want to overhear? A, my boss honors their work life boundaries. Or B, my boss loves their job so much they rarely leave it at the office. Okay, now finally, two more. 29, when you think of a song that depicts your work life, which song would you choose? Taking care of business or We Are Family? And finally, as you get prepared for your retirement party speech, you hope to say, A, I rarely missed a deadline and always put the job first. Or B, I missed a few deadlines, but I never missed an important family event. All right, let's switch over to our scoring sheet now, students. So this is how we will score it. And again, if you need a moment to go back and pause and tally up your S, I, P, W, and C, feel free to do so. If you're taking a class with me this semester, we'll be doing that in class. So each of the separator and integrator questions, there's a total of 15. All right. So tally your score. You could have 8 and 7. You could have 6 and 9. You could have 15 and 0, but it must tally up to 15. Next is personal and work. Tally by section. So out of 5 questions in section 1, how many personal, how many work? Out of 5 questions in section 2, how many personal, how many work? And out of 5 questions in section 3, how many personal, how many work? So you're going to have 3 section tallies for P and W. And then finally, cycler depends on the results for P and W. So let me explain these. Your separator means that your work and personal time are separated. You unplug when you're not at work. You have more points here than an integrator. Then that means you're a separator. That means you rarely mix work and play. You unplug after work. Home time is home time. Work time is work time. You rarely blur the work and personal boundaries and are careful to guard your personal time. Mixing work and play is not negotiable. So that's an easy one for people to score because they have 1 point over in one or the other, or more than one. The opposite is you integrate your work and personal life, rarely unplug. If you have more points here than separator, you're an integrator. That means you're comfortable mixing work and play. You often stay plugged in after work. You have no problem running personal errands while on the clock. You have a little bit more blurred personal boundaries from time to time, and you're willing to negotiate work and personal time overlapping. And again, in our class conversations, we'll get into people who have this conversation. Work versus personal first. If you prioritize personal, what some people call family, before work, you have more points here than in work. Look at your points in each section to determine if you're a cycler. So, a cycler means you have two or more points in P and W in each of the three sections. I'll say that again because it's this one's a little trickier. So, you could be personal sometimes, work sometimes. That means depending on the stage of life, you are cycling. So, if you have at least two in each of the three sections, one, two, and three, you could be a cycler. But some of you have like five in the personal or four in the personal. That means you frequently choose personal over work when you prioritize your values. You rarely sacrifice your personal life for your career. When you look back on your life, you want to remember the time you spent with loved ones over work projects. And work can wait if someone you love needs you. You take both sides of life seriously, but when pushed, you pick personal. It doesn't mean work's not important. Now, the opposite is the case. So, again, you could be a cycler, but if you have four in work first or five in work first, then you're work first. That means your career could be very demanding and you're willing to sacrifice to be successful. When push comes to shove, you prioritize work before your personal life, and your career is the one most important thing in your life. Your personal life is important, but it can take a back seat. And again, finally, we're going to show you cycler. That means you could have had two or three at each stage. So you cycle depending on the stage in life. When you have the family demands, your career may take a back seat. When you have demands in your personal life, it kind of goes up and down. Your career may be top priority. You cycle. And that's based on the demands of each bucket in your life. And when you first start off, you might focus on career success because you don't have a lot of other personal responsibilities. But as other demands hit, mid and senior career, you may switch gears. Your decisions are very much based on circumstances, and you carefully weigh them out at each stage. So, in class, we will talk about how you feel, what you struggled with, and then we'll also talk about what is next, which means when you are interacting with your supervisor, we want to empower you to become an advocate for yourself in a performance review, in a hiring scenario, or in your personal life with romantic partners. Explaining your values, explaining what's important to you, and making sure that others realize that. Maybe you don't want to take the promotion, and that's okay if you don't want to take so many hours on. Or maybe you need to tell your partner that work is a really, really important thing. I know in my personal scenario, my husband and I both talked about being equal partners when we had kids and when we worked. So there wasn't one person dominating. It's all about communication. This can help facilitate discussions focused on job searching and offer negotiation because you don't want to pick that 50, 60-hour week job and feel completely depleted if that's not what's important to you. This encourages you to self reflect throughout your career, and it allows you to have the knowledge to make intentional and informed decisions and actions in your life that align with your values. I encourage you to revisit this throughout your career. And if you have more questions, we will talk about that in class. That's the end of video number 2.